You said something right now that I think is key for everyone. You said your life can change uh, fast, right? Your life can change, or just you can have a turnaround of wherever it is that you're in right now. Your life can give
Yeah.
you for the best or for the worst, right? It can give a whole entire turn. So, what does that mean to you, though? Because I mean, I get that. Like, there's a lot of people out there right now that they're probably feeling frustrated. So this is where we try to give as much as possible through this mean of us connecting with people. What had to happen, or like how we like to say it, right? So through collective closers, which is the community that we have, and the community for where us we use it to impact the lives of people, is uh in order for you to become a closer, you first have to close yourself. So closing begins within us. So in the way that we can describe that to the public is like, at one point you had to sell yourself on a dream or on a belief that then led into you then changing your life or going into that direction. So when you mentioned how fast your life can turn, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, I think for me, and that's so beautiful what you shared. I love that. For me, even being in real estate for 9 years, and I've been in brokerage operations for very large real estate companies. In the very beginning of my career, I didn't really have the structure or systems put in place. I wasn't in a community where those very basic things are taught, to actually grow a business. And I think that, especially in real estate, as an agent, when you get in, you're very hopeful, you're so excited, but it's like you are your own boss and you're creating a career, and you really have to treat it that way. And so I just say that because even probably 6 or 7 years into being an agent, I think I was still kind of like really lost. Like I was doing it, but it wasn't probably done in the best way where I could really scale it. It was kind of like I was just things were happening and luck was happening, and I was getting clients, but when you're operating in that type of way, it's really hard to scale, and then you're just only waiting for like your next closing. Um, and so for me, it was really the moment, and people will, want to know like what was that moment that some people will share their story, and it's like this day that something major happened, and I just share from my perspective like major things can go on in your life, and it might not still like be the wake up point, or it might not really be that one thing. But for me, it was really like looking around at my life. And it was like I was on autopilot all the time, really just doing what I had to do to get the next client. And then it's like on to the next one. And as I think my daughters were getting older, I was like, wow, like time is passing so fast. And like they're older now. My life is in a different place. I'm obviously more mature, and I'm just so much happened. And then it was really, though, I was sitting there, and like I had to figure out who I was and just take like really seriously, because I had said it many times before. I think we'll make a goal or we'll set a standard for ourselves, but we fall back into our old habits. And so really it was making that decision that I wanted. I knew that it was inside of me. I could feel it. Many signs happening around me, but I really just had to choose me, and that takes work of like inner work to do, things to face that aren't always the happiest and all the glamorous things. It's really like figuring out who you are.
So when you were running the business, you were selling real estate, or you were acting as a broker. How did your day to day look like from that old Courtney to like the new one, right? How if you could describe it in a way So I'll give you an
Mhm.
example, right? Like I have met a lot of people that come in from a another job. They're either part-time, and then they go into the real estate business, and it's difficult. And now I'm going to share a little bit of
Mhm.
my scenario. It took me years for me to believe on letting my other job go, because I was always afraid of what if I don't make it, right? But then I was always fighting with myself every single time I was going to my full-time job. I was like, man, I could do a lot better for me. So for you, how did that look like? And what was your day like normally when you were living on your lowest self, you could say, right? And then into then evolving into who you are now.
Yeah, so previously, really as an agent, just like a brand new agent, I didn't have structure. I wasn't even taking like now, like I stick to a schedule. Well, try and have a schedule, um, make sure that, I'm working on my mindset, prospecting, and skill set. So I would say now it's very structured. As a brand new agent, like I was like doing random things, I didn't even have like a vision. I was doing random things. Some days I wouldn't even be doing any real estate. And so I think that's the hard part as a brand new agent or, a newer agent, even 3, 4 years in, you have to be very structured, and take this job very seriously. So then I got into brokerage operations of real estate. And honestly, that was a moment where I wanted the salary, the guaranteed, right? Like had my real estate license and I was doing well, but I wanted, or I thought that that's what I wanted. It was probably a little bit of safety as an only mom. I was like, okay, well, this is, I can do this. I'll have a set salary. And so it felt safe. And then I, learned that I just wasn't happy doing that. I was at my desk all day, every day. And so I had no time to even focus on doing much real estate sales as an agent. And that's when I knew something had to change. I wasn't happy. But I really, I didn't know what that was gonna be. And I met Jose Bonilla, who's one of our leaders here and a friend of yours. And it all like started opening up, obviously, with just the mindset shift. Like, I think that was the first time that I really understood that it's like the personal work you have to do and it's a direct reflection of your business. And if you're feeling stuck, if you're, feeling like you're just waking up every day and it's like the same thing, then that's when I made the decision to like figure that out. And so now I feel like I have a life work balance now, I like to say. We all want to have a work life balance, right? But we can, put too many expectations on ourselves, or I realize like it's very important to me to have family time. So I want to have that life work balance. And so now I feel like I have freedom. I feel like my day to day is, although I have more freedom, like it's in more control because I'm the one that is really controlling that or setting my schedule, with just like, what I'm choosing to say yes to or what I'm choosing to say no to. And, back to knowing who you are. If you don't know who you are, then you're going to be saying yes to everything. You start doing things and then you realize that it doesn't even align with what you want or what you believe in or the people that you are maybe, spending time with now because you said yes to this. And now all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how I got here. So that just goes back to knowing who you are.